morning, Campbell. Autodidactic, my dear friend. How are you? It's Tartariaaustralia live today.
Not that you would know, but we're missing out our little emblems. Hello, Kelly, out on
Hi.
the land.
I know. I finally arrived at my new farm, everyone. So apologies for my absence. It's been a massive, epic motherfucking journey. I tell you what, like driving down from Melbourne, I'm now in northern New South Wales. So if there's any Tartarian Australia people out here in New South Wales, like in my neighborhood, then make yourself known to me. I'm gonna have to like find a new community and get to know some new people, and it'd be really super cool to start doing some Tartarian events, little community ones down here. And we got Brisbane happening, which is just now, I think Brisbane's 3 hours away. Yep.
Wow,
So
you can drive.
here
You
it
can
is. This is
hitchhike there.
my new backyard looking.
So jelly.
So I've just decided that I cannot be bothered to set up because there's the new house. It's just a shed. My office. So here is my new office. This ladder behind me, Campbell, and the laptop's just sitting right there. So that's why we're in casual mode today. Although you should have your background on. Put on a background.
I know, but I don't. Let me see what I've got here.
You have to hold the background fort now.
All right, let's see what we've got.
Yeah, there we go. The lunatic asylum.
That's a lunatic.
That's what I feel like. That's what I feel like. The chaos.
Is that one? Here we go. Let's do this one.
So, my darling friend, I haven't sat down to any massive Tartarian conversations with you over the last kind of 8 days.
No, it's been this. So this is a bit of an impromptu one. I think the last chat we had was with Jason, right? Is that right? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and wasn't that fucking intriguing?
It was. That was really good. It's good to have, things, verified by books, I guess, that like we're coming up with all these things and he's got completely different information, but it goes along the same lines. So it's interesting. Lots of information seems to be converging at the moment, doesn't it? We're all it's very interesting how it's all tuning in on the same topics, and we've all sort of started at different points, but we're all kind of honing in on the same stuff.
Meeting Jason was fascinating. I could have gone for 7 hours more conversation. I had a million questions. And we went off on some really interesting tangents. And I think something great about Jason, obviously, is that he's got this photographic memory and he's very fact-based. And I didn't know exactly, I'd never watched any of Jason's work. And so now I know that he is really focusing on simulation theory. And I just fucking love that. And it was like, it blew my mind. The conversation that we had about the sky turning off. Yeah. Hello, I loved that. So if anyone didn't catch the interview with Jason, it's really worthwhile. He brought up some excellent points about Australia, about the marsupials, and it was all really about Australia.
And that's I never thought about the flightless birds, but yeah, they're all in the outer ring, shall we say?
Yeah, really interesting topic to bring up, and then have it sort of parallel with Tartaria. I loved that. But yeah, I mean, so if you haven't caught the interview, go watch it. It's this really excellent and some new points about Australia, and he did counteract our theory about potentially the two suns and the missing sun being why everything shrunk. Jason proposes the theory that there was basically a cloud cover around.
So not light as we get it, but different frequencies, like probably more ultraviolets and things, and everything grew bigger. And they've done experiments recently where they're growing plants in the dark, and they're growing bigger with certain frequencies, not just the dark. But so I mean, and I guess it's what is the dark, dark might, I don't think it was pitch black. It was just, so who knows, this whole sun thing, waiting for the.
All right, so I have to parallel it with my story that I got taught at Ramsar School, just because it's so interesting here. And it basically was, if there was a firmament that covered the whole, we know there's a firmament, that there was a firmament that covered the whole realm, and that it had the qualities, I would say, of Venus. You know, that's the planet that, or the realm, plane, whatever word that we were given. And that's sort of like humid, you know, when you see those, what are those terrariums where they
Yeah,
grow in a sealed glass container, actually a whole ecostructure, and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
always sealed, and it creates this like
They
complete
built
cycle that
they
supports
built a
itself.
huge one in California, a big biodome.
Yeah.
And they even made a crappy movie, didn't they, called Biodome about the
Did
same
they?
thing. Yeah. But yeah,
And
so you walk in,
yeah,
it's all airlocked and it's a complete, basically forest in there. Yeah.
and it's self-supporting, so it's
Yeah.
complete cycle, it's completely shut off from
Yeah.
all other elements.
Mm.
So similar concept, and that makes a lot of sense, and we are essentially shut off from all other elements, I believe that, our dome. So Ramtha said that around 40,000 years ago, the beings in Atlantis, Atlanteans, created a weapon that was a crystal weapon that pierced the stratosphere, and in doing that, it basically broke the cloud cover and changed the actual climate dramatically and really quickly, and we got these massive earth change events where where Atlantis sunk, and then Lemuria and everything.
Mm.
That's when we got that last catastrophe, you know, potentially that was the floods.
Yeah.
So when that all happened, it was really interesting, because in the piercing, then there were two suns, and they'd never seen the sun before, but two
Mm.
suns appeared. He said there was two suns in his time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it may be
Which is
that
interesting.
the theories, what I'm getting at, the theory about that ecosystem, that humid cloud covered system, and the two suns actually were true, but one was hidden by the other. So when
Yeah.
one
Well,
collapsed, the two were shown. So we may still be onto something with where's that missing sun? You know,
yeah.
what
Well,
happened?
there's big questions about eclipses, right? That when you study them, they tell us it's the moon, but no one's ever seen or photographed the moon, going into an eclipse. It's just the circle on the sun. They say, oh, that's the moon, but it doesn't seem to go in or out,
Yeah.
So is that another, there's a lot of talk about another body being up there, and the black sun we hear a lot about,
Yeah.
the Royal Society, all this, it's all the black sun. So there could be another body. And of course, we've got the Milky Way, which used to be called the Great Rift, the split in the sky, literally. And it
Yes.
looks like a big cut in the sky.
Yes, which could have been this weapon that they were
Yeah,
talking about that pierced it. That makes total sense.
exactly. And then the fallen angels came down, which would have been, you would think, at the same time, because they get access. And then the stories we get say that they then mated with the women that were down here, and that produced giants. And when we talked to Jason, he was saying that it was what was he saying? It's your genetics. So that if you were born in the vapor canopy, but then
That's right.
you grew up in it when it was gone, you wouldn't grow as big, but you could still have giant babies. So
Yep.
that could explain that sort of story as well.
That's right. That's right. So
So,
the distinction
yeah.
between the genetics was those who were from the vapor canopy and those who were born afterwards when that was over.
Which is weird, because it means that the smaller people gave birth to the giants, and then giants couldn't give birth to giants. They gave birth to smaller people again. So it was
Yeah, that's interesting. And
isn't it?
it's interesting that that whole chunk of our history has been deliberately cut out, like, because the giants and the Tartarians and this whole realm there about what we're trying to piece together has been snipped and edited out. But we do have quite a lot of content about the Atlanteans, the Lemurians, then the Noah's flood, and this, then that history is quite, intact. Like, we know it. It's easy to find that information, but this stuff is like edited out. Like, why was it so important to the agenda to remove and completely erase any concept of giants, any concept of explanation of our cities, or of all of this concept around this advanced civilization, this potentially flying civilization, flying machines, giants, giant trees, them being cut down, all of that stuff?
I
Why
think
was it so important to remove?
it just flies in the face of their narrative of evolution, especially because the whole narrative is we started, in the dirt, and we're at the best we've ever been. But if we understood that, there were giants and all these other civilizations, we might not buy that, they get it, that they have to rule, that we have to pay them money, that they own all the tech and all this kind of stuff. Right? understand it, that it could have come from a different civilization, but when there is no other civilization, then it has to come from this one, right?
So advancement got snipped and edited to hold us to a, you know, a beginning reset culture. They had to cut all recognition of the advanced civilization.
And that's the orphan trains and everything. You know, you just cut that one civilization and train the kids from birth, and you've changed the whole narrative. No one remembers anything anymore. It's gone.
Yeah. So okay, well, that makes sense. So all right, if we take the Ramtha history of a weapon being created that pierced the stratosphere, or what we would say is the firmament, created the rip, the Milky Way. I like that. I haven't put that together before. Created that rip. Potentially, I mean, we don't, well, I was about to say, potentially we don't know if it also created all the stars that moment in time. Like that's where stars have come from. But that's essentially what the Milky Way looks like. A rip ends up looking like a concentrated segment of stars, doesn't it? Anyway, that's interesting. Or potentially stars are little holes that have for some reason been accidentally or deliberately put into the firmament, and that's the light that's behind it all.
Yeah. I mean, that theory's out there too. It's just well, I guess it depends on what's above, what kind of water it is, right? I mean, because obviously that would then create, you know, a doorway. If they were, because have you seen the pictures of comets?
Yeah.
And what they show is comets, and you look at a comet, and if you think of it the other way, like a hole, with light shining through, it looks exactly like that.
Hello, we are light beings returning to light, wanting to return to the light, wanting to ascend back to the light. And what if behind all of this is light?
I wonder how many stars there are.
Well, you know, who would even fucking know?
Can you count them? Is there 144,000? Is it lots of people like little windows and people, the watchers looking at us through their little portals?
I wonder if the stars were an accident. I wonder if they're like, they're accidental holes. Like, I wonder if something, or if they're like little pinholes so that they can view in on us. Or, I mean, like, are they pinholes for them to view us? Are they just there to decorate the sky? Are they accidental hits on the firmament? Like,
are they just the lights that are the machinery, right? That we can't see, that's hidden. Because you know, you look at all the machinery we have, they have all their, you know, their sort of hazard lights or whatever all over them.
That's funny.
What if it's that, right?
That's so funny.
And that's why they move, and that's why we can use them to predict things, because it's a machine.
Well, that's so funny, because like we do know that the stars are stationary, and we know that they just go around in a circle and they just stay like that forever. And you know, it's been the same stars forever and ever and ever. We know that. So, you know, it's like it's been tattooed on to our firmament for a reason. And is it a mathematical reason? Is it part of the machinery? Is it to remind us where we came from? I mean, all this whole UFO stuff, you know, when I started this journey, like one of the biggest words that I ever referred to myself was starseed. A starseed. That's like been such a massive part of the movement towards this disclosure ascension timeline. That hello, a star seed.
What's a star?
That we've like, as you know, the stars are a literal seed to us to remind us like what's to think what's out there.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, right, reverse.
Or is those little holes where we came down? Imagine that. Oh my God! Imagine if the star seeds actually created the stars. That's hilarious.
Yeah, well, we might all be stars, right? Like literally, we all just all have our own portal.
Doesn't like Joe Dispenza and Martin, all those sort of like personal development gurus, don't they always constantly say that we are made up of stardust? We are the stars.
Yeah, always.
Now that's fascinating.
And then of course Hollywood, they love to call each other stars, don't they?
Oh yeah. That's so funny. Wow, I think that's really worth investigating.
You know, which one is it? Is it Paramount movies where they show the mountain and the
stars,
and you know how they sort of come in?
Yep.
And then they and there's 24, I think. Is that the right number? It's the same number of stars as there is fallen angels. And you know how they go through and name the fallen. So other star, that's another, you know, I don't, which sort of points to portals again, doesn't it? You know, did they come in through stars? Is that why, are they fallen? Is that why they call the Hollywood stars today? Because they're the same, you know, beings.
Man, I tell you what, nothing surprises me anymore. Fucking nothing. Like, I could totally now wrap my head around a theory on the idea that all those stars are our individual entry points into this simulation. That is our entry point and our exit point. That the star is us, the mark that we made coming in here, and that what you see is the amount of beings that are here.
Yeah. And maybe if we don't, you know who we really are, then we can't find our way home, right? We can't find the right portal, and we get caught up in this reincarnation thing that's been put over the top and kept here, and they try and stop us from figuring out who we are on the way home, and here we are.
What a head trip that would be. Oh my God. I've never heard anyone even talk about something like this. So, wow. So because what we were saying about the Jason interviews, he talked about the sky being turned off, and he'd found actual eyewitness testimony throughout, I think he said the 1100s and the 1200s and
15s, I think.
Whatever time is in the narrative. We know that time is screwed up, but like from that narrative, and they were saying that when the sky turned off, they saw machines was one thing, and they saw ships was another thing. And like, and these, if you put that into the official narrative timeline, that would be a very eloquent way to describe what they were seeing, because they would have no context for that culture at all.
Yeah, and we started calling the sky a clock about a year and a half ago. Like, that's a mechanical device, right? And that makes me think of Terence McKenna and the elves, right? The elves, they were always in this machinery, right? They were in this sort of machine world. The elves that he used to encounter.
And you know what? I saw something really fascinating on Facebook, actually, last night, and I posted it. I'm going to see if I can get it up. Because like, one thing about this is that we would have to say, if that was the case, then stars have been consistent throughout our whole history, because
that's I was wondering, have they? I wonder if the number is increased as the population's increased.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fascinating concept, because obviously if we have history, or if we have a timeline of history, a sense of, we have to in the simulation, so we have a sense of past and future and time loop, then those stars would be consistent, right, throughout artwork. You'd see stars in the artwork, and beings who are us, like, you know, how long have we been here? We don't know. Sometimes, you know, we get told that we've been here, this is our first lifetime as a starseed, you're here for a specific mission. Other times you've been here since the beginning of time, like you literally are time. Like, this wouldn't exist without you being here since the beginning of time. So, but I saw this excellent post come on. I'm standing out in nature, so let's see if it will work for me, and I'll find it. And I just thought it was really interesting, because it's all about stars and suns. Here it is. All right, cool. Let me share screen. Just on the topic. So this is artwork from 1552. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So 3 suns, or 3 balls and a sun. And look how Tartarian. I'm just going to go quickly so you can see them. Look at the buildings. It's not in English. It's not in English.
It's almost English. It must be German. Oh, okay. So this is a cataclysm, obviously. Look at that.
Yep. Towers, Tartarian towers falling, but
ring around the sun.
Ring around the sun.
That's in a song, isn't it?
Look at that. That looks like that's like a sun splitting in 2.
So it's almost like they're backwards. Like, that ring should be first, then the first one we saw with all the orbs already split.
Yeah.
Like, they've come out of the sun. Wow.
I'm just going to go quick.
That's an eclipse on the sun, plus a sun in the sky. And burning. A falling log.
Yeah, on fire. That says 1009.
Wow.
That was just, then looks like something, looks like snow coming down, but like, who knows what it is.
Well, there was a mini ice age in the 1400s, was it?
And then that.
Back to now 3 moons.
1304.
So
1401.
this is like a book where someone's put together all the different sightings and kind of drawn their interpretation of them.
I don't know. We'll read. I don't think it's in English. I can't. We'll go back to the description in a second. Is it on here? No. We'll have to go back. We'll get through these. I'm just showing you this really quickly. 1456. Looks like comments.
Oh, wow. What's that? Birds?
They look like birds. Sorry, but I've got my sunglasses on. I'm not trying to be rock star. I've just got sun in my eyes. Then look, yep, 1482.
Ouch. More birds.
1483, 53. Yeah, birds. Weird. Then that. Were they the birds? What is that?
Hell?
1490.
Oh my God, that is a full chimera, man. That's got a dude's face on its butt. Yep. What the hell? Yep. I mean,
oh, sorry. You're still
wow.
looking.
Well, Jay Dreamer's channel, he talks a lot about plasma apocalypses, and he says that that's when all these weird creatures come in that we get in the in all the fantasy stories and all the movies, and we've got this big thing, haven't we, of these creatures? They suddenly pop out and they're everywhere.
Everywhere.
So are they the fallen angels?
Well,
a bunch of weirdos, right? Because what they're trying to do at the moment, they're trying to get everyone to, cut their bits off.
I know. This sort of looks like the transgender agenda,
doesn't it? That's the end result. Now you're a donkey. Now you're a chicken.
1500, a sun comet, eclipse, whatever, sun comet. Then the ring around the sun again.
The sun. That's a big sun as well, isn't it? Look at the size of the buildings. That's a huge sun.
Yep, that's like a black sun and a comet coming from the sky over the building.
Is that? It is a comet. Okay.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, I thought it was like a.
Well, look at that.
An upside down rainbow.
1520.
Wow.
The birds again.
The birds.
Oh, actually, they're insects.
Oh, insects. Maybe that's why they're trying to get us to eat insects, because there's going to be lots of food, free insect food.
Oh, don't. What you saying? We're going to have a plague of insects? Oh, fuck off, man.
All right. Flaming sword.
Yeah. Look at that. So a comment coming with 3 little new stars, 3 little star seeds, 3 stars entering the realm. Then we've got a sea creature getting hit by the sunbeams and the flood and the broken buildings.
Wow, and they look very sort of advanced too, don't they?
1552, yeah. Bit more refined than normal, yes. Maybe elations. And then 15, what's that? 31?
31, yeah.
But I mean, this is just a curious thing. I mean, it just popped up on my feed last night. And I just was like,
Lambent pig.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to check out the dates and see what actually happened in those years, wouldn't it?
Yeah, actually, that's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Now, there we go. The dragon suddenly.
And of course, dragons have been, it's been put out there that are they just plasma? Is that just what plasma looks like? And it kind of looks like, they're representing something in the sky, don't they? Fire-breathing dragons. 3 suns.
And looks like it looks like the firmament's been broken. Looks like the canopy's been broken.
Oh, there's a hole in that, yeah.
Yes. And 3 suns. Yeah. 1535.
Okay.
Then, of course, fire in the sky, 1542.
Smoke on the water.
Yep.
Fire in the sky.
And then, look, a sky battle, 1545.
With a big creature coming out.
Yeah.
And again, looks like a flaming sword, and that's a recurring theme, isn't it? A light sword or a flaming sword.
And doesn't it?
Saber.
Yeah, absolutely. And doesn't it look like, this is sort of a representation of a war going on through one of these, like outside of the firmament, like through one of these suns?
Like
They're from the sun.
like you're looking through into another dimension or something.
Yeah. And is that what a like a portal to another timeline would look like? If a portal opened up and in popped another timeline?
And look at that creature. Is that where creatures and other entities pop in through? Because that last picture you showed, it looked like two sort of fields crossing each other. Or maybe not the one before that, maybe.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
No, it's like, yeah, is it another sun, another field or whatever, or reality has sort of crossed over? Is that what happens every 2000, you know, what is it, 2160 years?
And sorry, interrupted.
Because, you know, the armor, right? Armor.
Absolutely.
Was that to fight these beasties?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the armor, that is a key thing, that armor stuff. Like we covered the armor. I really believe that's a key to these resets somehow. Like it's a technology, because we're always taught, Campbell, that a reset is like a reprogramming, like a memory wipe, right? But imagine if what a reset was them opening up another timeline and integrating it into this one, like adding like another group of actors or another group of cultures, and then mixing it all up and seeing what happens again. Like that would explain why we've got like this Tartarian realm and this, like the giants and all these mythical creatures, like blasted in one of the timelines, and then suddenly like that doorway was shut. The sun may be a doorway, not a fucking object. Like that doorway shut, that timeline cut, new one opens.
There's a narrative that these entities, whoever they are trapped in here.
They can't get home.
They can't get home. Are they waiting for the next, you know, portal to open, so they have to get out? Is that what happens? That portals open and some come in and some of us go out, and then we intermingle, and 100 years later we go, what the hell happened? Shit, where are we? And start trying to work it out again.
I mean, that would keep, it's like going to a new level of the game.
The Vesica Pisces, you know, that's always the two fields, you know, where they intersect. And of course, Jesus, you know, the new sun who's coming back is always shown in a Vesica Pisces.
So, all right. So maybe we were asking the wrong question, because we were like, the suns were responsible for the shrinking or the growth or whatever, and the bringing of the darkness. But maybe a sun is simply a doorway to another timeline that can be introduced into any sort of simulation or realm or firmament, any sort of simulation, and it creates you a new level of the game. Like suddenly you've got all these, like, because in all the old artwork we always see this idea of a doorway opening up in the sky, and then out comes this like army, out comes these creatures, out comes this whole other fucking world in this artwork.
Heaps of movies as well, and you know, the Stargates and all this kind of stuff, you know, all the fantasy has those, you know, portals. I mean, that's right. And would that just, you know, the mixing of all the different DNA, would that cause all these strange creatures and all this stuff to go on? And is it because, you know, last time obviously less than nice entities came in? Is that because the energy was low, and this time hopefully it's going to be higher? So is that what the new Earth is?
I mean,
a higher vibration come in, and because that's a story that gets told a lot as well, isn't it? That they come in and they help raise us up again to a different level.
This makes so much fucking sense. Okay, Cameron, I don't know what we're going to talk about today, but oh my god, how good is this?
We go, right?
So like, all right, so now we know that there's been reports of more suns in the sky. Like we've shown you videos where another sun's appearing, and it's not being acknowledged obviously in the mainstream, but lots of home footage of suns appearing and the sky changing color into these reds, right? We know a reset's coming. We know there's this big like war between light and dark, if you use those words, between but I would say between this ones who between the sovereignty or the love and the fear or whatever. You've chosen your doorway now, and it's like there's two timelines competing for each other. And so we've got this full-on satanic dark awful timeline that seems to be held up right immediately with this like new, you know, beautiful new Earth ascension timeline of the light, so to speak. So imagine if like the consciousness of the simulation, the overriding consciousness of the simulation is what gets to choose, you know, the timeline that opens up, the sun that appears and lets through the timeline, you know, like we're influencing how this plays out is what I'm trying to say. And could it play out more than once? Like, could it play out simultaneously with 2 doorways opening, but we won't even see?
Yeah, exactly. We'll be in a certain frequency, and that's what the split would be, right?
Because Cambell, if we align it with simulation, think about it as a video game, then you do like there can be thousands of players playing that video game simultaneously all at the same time and interacting virtually all at the same time. And each one of those could be on totally different levels of the game. And they're having a completely different simulated virtual experience, but they're playing at the same time as the other 100,000 players. But they're having a completely different experience. Like they don't even know what the other 100,000 players, but they're all doing it simultaneously. So I mean, that's a very
realm,
Well, let's see if these pictures answer our question. So in this one, there's beings falling from the sky and wood, what appears to be like debris and debris, or just falling from the sky. Interesting. Now there we go. What's this?
Face sun.
No. That's like 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 6 like circles there.
Yeah. So I mean, are they the sun's behind it? Are they different? Are they all lined up?
Exactly. And do you remember when we did the first Tartaria live event in Melbourne? Oh my God, guys, if you haven't bought your ticket to Brisbane, fucking it's going to be legendary. I'm telling you, it's like the best fucking $100 you spent for a full day of amazing conversation with your people, man. Like fucking, this is like, we are on the leading edge of this whole consciousness. Like, come and meet your community. Like, you are going to be so invigorated and so activated and so inspired. Like, it's going to be awesome. And Dale Holmes is going to join us. Brisbane in October. Do it.
Dale is confirmed, and this is for everyone in, you know, if you're in Queensland, Northern New South Wales, wherever, country Queensland.
Come and meet your people.
Indeed.
All right, so
I may have figured out the sun by then. Oh, an upside down sword.
And look, there's 3 doorways plus a broader one. And look, you can see that the buildings are now covered in some sort of greenish, misty, vegetation-y, but they're all covered.
The Triffids.
1540.
Oh my God. Okay. Full circle rainbows, circles.
Now doesn't that looks kind of balanced, doesn't it? Like something's happened.
It's
where we got down the bottom. Not quite the same cityscapes now. And there's a cross in the ground. And
there's no big cities. They're all a bit smashed down a bit, aren't they? Looks like that there's been a bit of mud flooding and levels to be changed a bit. But it's the same thing in the sky, isn't it? And that was 100, and this is another 100 years further again. And now we've got. So is that depicting one sun, do you think? See how the rays are going out sideways?
Yeah.
Is it saying it was
a cycle? Like it could be a cycle, a rotating cycle.
Yeah, it stayed in like one little spot for a bit or something, or.
Fascinating.
So I mean, it's very interesting that we've been talking about the sun, haven't we, for the last year and a half or so. What's
sun
going
and
on
stars.
Sun?
Sun and stars and sky, because we've now called Tartaria a civilization of the sky. So the sky, what is it? Tartaria in flying, fucking steampunk, and the sun, and now we look at stars, like, and look here, now we've got rocks falling from the sky. Boulders with like lion's head, and it looks like armor. It looks like shields.
Yeah, that top middle one looks like a
the
seal of some kind. Or
but we got the rains.
Wow. And of course, Jason mentioned dirt falling from the sky.
Yes, he did. He absolutely did. And look, they're like rocks.
They look like rocks.
Yeah.
Dirt, does it?
But like still, like
But
we got this.
we've had frogs, fish, birds.
Yeah.
So no doubt there's been some rocks falling from the sky.
We don't know where these rocks came from. Like there's like rock formations all out there that, you know, aren't covered buildings and aren't, you know, like they're literally massive boulders that have landed in, you know.
And even the dust, like we were talking about, they still try and tell us it's blown in from the Sahara or something.
Yeah.
Somehow it goes across, you know, 10,000 miles of ocean and nothing, you know, but it still gets across. And then, yeah, you get like tons and hundreds of tons of it. But really, they don't know where it came from.
This cross comes up a lot.
See, this is the thing. I think we're starting to realize that all these, you know, religions that sort of try and tell us that they're there to teach us one thing, they're actually just keeping records and timekeeping, right? They got some information that they don't want us to know. And it all seems to be on the sky, you know, crosses, suns.
Yeah.
You know, it's all in the language, isn't it?
All in the language.
When the sun returns.
And that was it.
So there you go. That was pretty cool. I think definitely bookmark that one, and we'll have to go through and see if we can.
Let me see if there's an English translation.
Any of the dates, you know.
All right. So it doesn't, it's all, so I don't even know what language this is. Anyone out there?
Un gran tremblanto de terra. It's, I don't think it's French, Spanish, Italian, Trust.
Well, if anyone on the Tartariaaustralia Facebook page,
feel. I'm not sure.
Yeah. If anyone on the Tartariaaustralia Facebook page knows how to translate this language, go and have a look at the post, because oh my gosh, we'd love to hear what it says.
What it says, yeah.
Voila. Yeah, that's French, isn't it?
Yeah, it's French. Voila, yeah.
All right. Okay, voila. So it's French. We'll have to have a look at that. So there you go. That was just an amazing random thing that that I saw. So I mean, how amazing conceptually that the suns are actually the openings that happen when they're basically introducing a whole other timeline of character, people, places, times, and events into the simulation, and it's basically about trying to keep the knowledge that happens, so that the outcome is influenced by those who have got the knowledge to influence it. So if they know that consciousness is what actually influences the timeline that comes in, or the characters that come in, or the alternative timeline, you know, what vibe it's on, like, then of course they've got to keep all that information to themselves. Hence we have all the secret societies, Freemasons, blah blah blah. And it's all about the sun. They're always on about sun. And as a result, they're basically keeping the population enslaved into their influential timeline that they want. And here we are, the star seeds, the light workers, the light beings, the ascending ones, whatever, who for the vast majority didn't fall for the, you know, the VAX, didn't plug in. And we are highly and definitely influencing this timeline dramatically.
Well, I mean, they've lost it. They're pushing for, you know, WAR at the moment, aren't they? And it's interesting that a lot of the depictions we get are of soldiers and battles and things. But is that just what they want? They want us to manifest, because there's also, like I mentioned before, Jesus comes through a Vesica Pisces. There are lots of angels and that sort of thing. And if we link the stars to the stars, you know, the Hollywood types, the Walk of Fame and that, are they the last ones that came in? Literally, they came in through the portals, which are the stars, so they're called the stars. But last time it was, you know, negative energy. So this time we've got to make sure that we get positive coming through.
I mean, that's a cool analogy, because fucking hell, all the Hollywood stars and all the stars of this realm are fucking satanic as, man. Like, you know, we know how connected they are to the agenda that's trying to like take over this realm. So, you know, but when you know, the new earthers, or this, I don't even know the right fucking word. We must have made a word for this.
Just to put another one, like, what do they do? What's Baphomet's head, right? It's an upside down star.
Yep, absolutely. The inverted star. So here we are influencing another timeline. And I can tell you the stars, when I think about stars, I actually do think about star seeds. That would be my strongest use of the word stars. And then I would think of like the legendary YouTubers that I've fallen in love with who are like exploring it. They to me are the new stars. Like then they are all of like this side of the, you know, the reset. Like it's you guys, it's the people who come to the events and like show up in community, and you know, the people I love listening to and watching, like to me they're the stars. So our concept of what is the accurate star has changed dramatically. I fucking hell, man.
Of course.
If I saw any of those Hollywood superstars or anyone and any, I would just be like disgust.
Yeah, I mean, I
no
can't
respect.
listen to the music anymore that I was used to.
Watch the movies.
Watch the movies. It's
I know.
It's just all, yeah. Well, now we know what they are, right? And and they keep telling us that they want to be stars, so it kind of makes a lot of sense, right? But we do have this sense that stars, as far as people, are ones who tend to change things, aren't they? They change our perceptions, you know, because stars are always, you know, they're like trendy, right? They change the styles and the fashion. Which of course is their false reality, the physical, but a true star actually changes the reality, like properly, not the false, with clothes.
Beautiful.
Properly, yeah, through who
beautiful they are, with consciousness, with sovereign choices, with their new questions, like 100%. Like what a difference. So wow, I mean, I love weaving that all together. That's a really cool new look for us at sort of how this all like is playing out. Yeah, Cambell, I love that. So and that's like, yeah. Oh, I've got a million questions coming through. Like, well, which one should I choose?
We can tie to the whole space thing that we're fed, you know, and Star Trek and all this. They're always out in, you know, looking for new things. And why are they looking for stuff? Are they trying to bring stuff back with them or something? You know, it's and you know, all the alien movies, all these aliens that do come in, they're always beasties, aren't they? They're never nice.
Never nice. And you know what? So I've moved here, right, like 3 days ago, and we got Starlink.
Yes,
Internet.
Yes.
And I'm just like, what the fuck is Starlink? I'm just like, what the hell is this? I'm a Cambell. What the fuck is Starlink? And like, how's it it's called? But on the topic of this conversation, how is it it's called Starlink? So all right, so I jumped on. I was like, obviously we do not believe in satellites, so you were like, they're balloons, and I'm like, okay, I haven't even thought to have a look, and I was like, find me a real picture of a satellite from Starlink, and all I could find was like cartoon pictures and very obvious fake pictures from space. And I'm like, what the fuck is Starlink? Who knows the answer to that? What do you have to say about it, Cambell?
Yeah, it's just they just hanging satellites from balloons. I think it's really just pumped up to be more than it is. I think it's just internet. I think it's just a way that they can get, because everyone's starting to ask the question, you know, well, if they're coming off satellites, how come I can get a mobile phone, but when I go into the center of Australia, there's suddenly no connection? They're not coming from satellites way up there. It should cover the whole, you know, round Earth, right? So maybe they put it up there so that they can, because it's offering. That's why you've got it, because it's covering areas that their satellites can't actually cover, right? Because their satellites are either balloons or just towers. So I think it's just there, and they're trying to sort of build it up as this big thing, but it's really just to cover their tracks a bit and to get internet to stop people questioning. Because once everyone can get it, they're not going to say, oh, well, you know, they just believe, well, they hope that everyone just believe their satellites, right?
So is Starlink, like, do you think they're towers? Do you think they're connected to the 5G towers? Do you think they're just a more
they're just relays, they'd just be relaying to further, so they're like almost like towers in the sky, I guess, just relay so they can just get the signal out to more remote areas.
So therefore it could be connected to the 5G rollout. That could be,
so it could be 5G, which is internet, and of course the internet is ultimately, you know, well, we know ultimately they want to take the internet into VR world, right?
So potentially they're packaging Starlink as the at what we would have called 5D internet is now Starlink, and
Yeah.
Starlink turns up and it's like this little mobile satellite and it moves. It just automatically moves. Like, is it just tuning into the frequencies of 5G? Is 5G Starlink? Is it, have we just inevitably got that? Because it's definitely not satellite system, like for sure. It's definitely coming from a lie, and it's Elon fucking Musk. So like,
Elon
you know,
Musk,
it's
yeah.
got to be to get the world onto using this this 5G network. Anyway, like this is Starlink. Here, I've got it. This is it for me and the internet. Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, no, I've heard about it because all the like van lifers and stuff, you know, people out in remote, you know, off gridders and that have to use it. And this is, yeah, I think that they're all going to get onto it and just it's there so that everyone just starts thinking there are satellites, right? Because it's just ridiculous, you know. They say, oh, it's all off satellites, internet, you know, it's off satellites, your phone's off satellites. But yeah, we all know that. I mean, even in cities, you've got to walk around sometimes, walk outside and hold your phone over the edge just to get reception. I mean, it doesn't match the story they give us. So
yep.
I think that's part of it. I mean, but no doubt there's more nefarious things that, you know, attached up. It's probably got something to do with 5G. And like I said, just because it's attached to the internet, I mean, I think that's failed, obviously, but, you know, Mark Zuckerberg came out, he wanted everyone to go and play in his little virtual world with him and give their real lives away. So, you know, stars again, right? Maybe that's it. Maybe they know that they're going to lose it. So they're trying to create their own virtual world and bring people into that, right? Just a fractal down.
And maybe it's got something to do with the the doorway opening up. The like maybe they're just, I don't know, maybe they're fucking with the actual opening of this new timeline. I don't know. Anyway, it's like, I'm going to do a deep dive on this one. If anyone out there has any information about Starlink, I'd love to hear it. It's literally just arrived in my life and now I'm just like, I just
yeah, well, I did a good chat
believe in it
on Friday with Ellen, and we were talking about the Nordic and the tree, you know, the tree of life, which is Idrisil, and dark elves are they called dark elves? Yeah. And it's interesting, you know, all the baddies that we see, all these sort of, you know, vampire types, and like the Slytherin from Harry Potter, and even from like what is it, Dark World, where they keep it setting, is that
Dark World,
Dark City.
Dark City. Dark City.
They've all got this elven look, right? They look like white tall elves,
tall with the black clothes on,
and they've always got black clothes on. Always. So that's another interesting thing, and that whole thing is as well that they came down, right, from down the tree to the mid earth. And I mean, so I think we've definitely been invaded. And we're working out who it is. But yeah, what's going to happen in the coming time, I think, is, you know, we don't know, right? But our best guess is to just affect it and do with good energy. And
because it seems to be that every time there's they introduce a new timeline, there has to be like a real shake up of the culture on the ground. So they bring in these disasters, these floods, or, you know, whatever happened with Tartaria. Like there's like, you know, there's always this huge shake up on the ground to sort of like, you know, help the integration of the new timeline, sort of like, so nothing sort of like, it's not a war. It's just like a recovery mission, you know, may the best man win sort of thing. I don't know, like, yeah, I mean, the dark elves, like, are we looking at a hijacking, or are we actually just looking at a timeline being integrated? You know, like, I'm not sure our questions yet. I'm not sure what should be the correct questions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think we're gonna have to think about that, because I mean, that's a good question, isn't it? Because I mean, it would explain a lot, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You know, of all the different, you know, races and all the different traits. You know, there's some funny traits humans have, like baldness. What the hell is baldness, and where did that come from? You know, all these weird sort of little bits and pieces, and it kind of, you know, it's a bit of a mixing pot down here, isn't it? So that would kind of explain that, you know, and all these elephants and giraffes, you know, what the hell are they, right?
I know. The animals are crazy. And you know, there's so much disease and illness, so much decay of the human body currently, you know, like this whole thing with what we've just been through, it's all been about the decay of the human body. Like it's like it's like the genetic coding of the simulation is being forced to, like, I don't know, not reboot, or I mean maybe it is reboot, but being forced to sort of like weaken in order to be easily
it's
altered.
more what's that word? It's got more plasticity.
Yeah,
more moldable, more shapeable, so that when whatever comes in, it can integrate better rather than being like a hard kind of crash.
So I just think all of that's fucking fascinating. Like there's so many amazing questions that could come from that. I love that conversation, Campbell. That was unexpected. Every time we don't have a plan, they're the best conversations.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
But I'm getting blown now, and it's getting cold out here. Like I don't know if you can see behind me. Oh, here. Wait, no. But there's a storm coming in.
Nice, but there is too. Wow.
And it's like it's still winter and cold. That's my, hey, look, that's my life, everyone, right there. Yeah.
That's the Kelly Mansion.
That's the bathroom.
So let us know in the chat as well if you want Kel to start a channel on how to build an off-grid community.
Yeah, I'm totally going to do it as I build and create this blank landscape into, you know, basically just taking care of our sovereign needs straight away, like just basics, water, food, eggs, sort of thing, shelter, and then sort of like, just like from our consciousness for our timeline, I think it'll be a really interesting, you know, little offshoot side hustle of a podcast, just showing you my little adventures. I know there's a lot of people who have made this shift, and I was talking to my business partners the other night, and you know, for so many out there, like they're now in this like happy lull, you know, like they're just like they're cruisy, they're fucking, you know, everything's gone back to normal, there's no lockdowns, you know, the vax hasn't done anything to them, like they're all cruisy and everything feels like it's getting back to normal, and the time slowed down and it's all good. And then everyone I know who's like gone and chosen their sovereignty, so many of us have moved into farmland or making the mission to move or getting our shit together to get sovereign, and it's the most hectic, crazy time ever. Time has not slowed down. It's like busier and more hectic than ever before. So it's really interesting. Like we're literally building, so many of us at the time of us expanding into this consciousness.
Happening. I mean, this is the thing. I think we've already all made our decisions, right? Everyone who's going back to the old world, that's their decision. They want to go back to the being controlled, and everyone who doesn't understands they've got to get out and do something, or else they're going to end up in one of these smart cities. And that's the split ultimately, isn't it? Because whoever comes in to help us isn't going to be the people that can help the people in the smart city. They're going to be hanging out with the dark elves or whatever they're doing.
God, how scary. I mean, like, Mark Zuckerberg, how much like a dark elf does he look? Jesus.
Doesn't he?
Fuck.
He's a full dark elf, man.
So like, I guess for us, it's a busy time period and nothing's slowing down. And we're all literally building something at some point. I bet every single one of you out there is building something right now, whether it be a bus, Cambell, or a business or a farm. But at the end of the day, we just can't stay in the thick of the simulation takeover. Like Melbourne was killing me. And I've left an amazing community down there, fucking legendary community. And hey, call out to everyone who've been interacting in the groups that we set up when we did the Melbourne Live. You know, some of them are going off. There's meetups happening. There's so many people keen to like, you know, go through and meet their groups, and like events are happening. So get onto the Telegram page if you're watching this and you're at the live event or in Melbourne. Get onto the Telegram page and like find your color. And you know, you've got a whole community there having meetups right now and socializing and dating and doing their fucking thing.
Dating and everything. That's of course something else we're doing. You know, for everyone who comes to the event, you'll all be put into groups, put in touch with people that are within your sort of area, so that you can keep it up, build the groups up, build the interaction up, because that's what we need to do. Is, you know, the more we hang around with our people, the easier it becomes. You know, it's like you always say, Kel, like humans are problem-solving machines, but but only awake humans, right? Not the
Yep.
ones in the cities. They just want to shut you down.
Look, I tell you, when we did the little community event in Melbourne just before I left, which was amazing, we sold out of that. It was at the North Fitzroy Bowls Club. Cheers to everyone who came. It was really fun. I totally lost my voice, and everyone had to sit there and suffer me having no voice for 5 hours on the mic. It was quite a push, and I just felt so much love and energy pouring out of the audience. They felt so sorry for me, but I had no choice. I had to keep going to the point where you could barely hear me. But it was cool. Right at the end, I did the whole premise for the dreaming workshops, which is very simple. To get into your groups, form a community group, sit down, name your wildest dream ever, and name your obstacle, and then let the whole group's commitment to solving that obstacle for you take place. Like, everyone is a natural problem solver, and for us to like thrive and go up and up and up in our frequency and our resources and everything that we require to literally build, which is what we are all literally doing, then, you know, like, it's just amazing to watch. So I had someone come up, first off, when I caught him, the audience, he came up, he was so brave, and he just basically did it. He said what his dream was and what his obstacle was, and then I asked everyone in the audience to solve it, and so many people put up their hands and said, oh, you know, like, what about this, and I can help here, and I can connect in here. And he started crying, the audience started crying, and it was the most beautiful moment. Like, I can't even tell you how heart activating it is to know that people are hearing who you are, your true dream, your truth, your being's personal, individual source code, destiny, like, and actually receive it and support you and offer their service to getting rid of that block, which is all an illusion. And like, the heart opening, the tears, the joy, it's just profound shit. So Cambell, the next show I'd like to do with you is actually to really go through a proper explanation of what all this, you know, achieving the impossible dream side of us is about, so people can like go forward and be sovereign and, you know, inspire their group to do it.
Well, then this is the thing that we've had taken away from us from day one almost, is support of who you are. You know, the system's happy to support you as long as you're what they want you to be, but as far as support for who you actually are,
exactly,
not a lot of that around. So this is what we need, and it's so empowering. And of course, you get around the right people, and that's all they want to do, right? They just, you know, so
100%. Absolutely. Yeah. Amazing. So yeah, look, let's do a download on that in much more detail. That's our community groups can like use it as a guide. And, you know, it's up to us individually coordinating these groups, like, you know, to just do it, to get in and get involved and make it happen. Because like, the whole point of this is sovereignty. It's not about, you know, having any sort of leadership in there. It's just about going in there and being sovereign as a community and making it happen. Like, that's it. So yeah, and I know a few groups have actually done it and have had their first sort of moment, and it's been beautiful. Yep. So I'm really happy.
Cool. Yep.
But
get all these new earth businesses and communities and whatever else up and running.
Yep. Amazing shit. Amazing stuff.
Other.
So, all right. Well, look, if anyone here in the Northern New South Wales region wants to start up a Achieving Your Impossible Dream Workshop, I am excited to come and connect and meet some people, and like, you get me there as part of the group. So it'll be really, really fun. So I'm up for anyone putting their hand up for that. So Cambell, my darling, I think I'm going to say that's a wrap on this.
Run away from the wind. Yes. All right. So yes, we'll be back next week. Hopefully, now that Kelly's settled, we should be back into a regular routine in nature. And yes, guys, give us a like, give us a subscribe if you haven't already. Share this content around. Make sure you check out Kelly's channel, links below, and all that other good stuff.
My channel, it's so funny. Honestly, it's been at like the same amount for like fucking 10 months. It's crazy. I just think it's like the tiniest little baby, tiny little seed of a channel, and like, it's cute. It's little and cute.
It's little, small and cute. Yeah, it just needs a bit of water and maybe some farm videos.
It's literally a star seed. It's a little seed.
So get over there and help give it some water, guys. Fertilizer, a bit of love.
All right, everyone. Like, yeah. So also
link for the tickets.
Yep, tickets down there. Cambell has also told you already, but to remind you that Dale Holmes has said yes to being one of our speakers. So it'll be the three of us, JCK and us, and Dale Holmes at the live. It's going to be amazing. Dale will bring such a beautiful additional voice and wisdom to the conversation, assuring that every live event is just sublime in its unique presentation. Really excited. So it's definitely happening Brisbane in October. And, you know, I fully encourage our whole community to fly down for the weekend and treat yourself to an amazing day with your people, and 2 days really. But yes,
and if you were there at Melbourne, leave us a comment. How was it? Let everyone else read. You know, if they're thinking of going to the Brisbane, let us know what you thought of the Melbourne event.
Oh, it was fucking hot, man. That's what it was. It was sizzling hot. What an event. All right, everyone. Love you all. Welcome to my new office, and as you watch me regenerate my soul and being, working, I've spent all day moving bags of cement. That's why I'm stretching right now. Cleaning up, first round of cleanups, and and Cambell will speak in a couple of days. And great to hear from you, buddy. Like, I miss you after 8 days. I think it was only 8 days, but
I know.
So much happened.
I think it was more than 7 days. It's like,
All right, guys, you guys have a beautiful week, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye. Look, I am out in the paddock, you know.
Yeah, out in the natures.